Experience LA's biggest new attraction that has been 65 million years in the making as we explore Dinosaur Hall at the Natural History Museum. And glimpse other relics of the past as we celebrate the typewriter, an icon of the business world that has become all but extinct on this edition of Out and About. So many people, of course, are aware of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I believe we have one nearby here.
Yes, we have actually one of the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex in existence. It's an animal that's about 2/3 of it complete. We have nicknamed Thomas, and he's mounted right here next to us. And it's part of the growth series of TRex that we have here in this new hall.
It's part of really a redesign and reinvention of the entire museum. And so we've really been conceptualizing it and working on it for about 15 years. Specifically, the Dinosaur Hall, we directed all of our attention to beginning a year ago when we'd completed the age of mammals. So we're doing these one at a time, 3 openings, 3 years.
Well, where we are here is at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County, and we're inside the newly opened Dinosaur Hall, our permanent Dinosaur Hall.
And it is large and bright and beautiful and quite a project, I'm sure. You had, to say the least, an awful lot to do with this.
Yes, I'm the curator, essentially the person who created the intellectual framework for the exhibit, in many ways selected the specimens, collected a number of them with my teams, worked with the designers, worked with the writers, worked with the graphic designers, with the artists, with everybody essentially to create the hall.
What are some of the types of dinosaurs that we see here at Dinosaur Hall?
Many of them. You'll see Tyrannosaurus Rex and Triceratops and Stegosaurus and Allosaurus and other horned dinosaurs, other plant eaters, other meat eaters. There are about 300 fossils in this hall. Not all of them are dinosaurs. As a matter of fact, we have some tremendous examples of the giant marine reptiles that lived in the oceans when dinosaurs lived on land. So you'll see a great variety of them.
What would classify a beast as being a dinosaur?
Dinosaurs are defined by anatomical features. One of the features that defines dinosaurs is the fact that they're, unlike other reptiles, their limbs are placed beneath the body, and that there are specific structures in the hip. Essentially, they have a hollow hip socket that has allowed that rotation to happen over time.
The information you're giving me has been acquired over quite some period of time with people going out there and actually digging up bones, and I understand you do that too.
I do that a lot. I mean, as the director of the Dinosaur Institute, we have a very strong field program, and a field program that essentially has augmented our collection significantly and will continue, because this is not the end of our endeavor. This institution is a research institution as well. So we've created this Dinosaur Hall, but our mission is not just to create exhibits like this, although of course this is a very important educational mission, but our mission is also to conduct research.
The task of coordinating such a monumental undertaking fell upon the shoulders of a woman who was dedicated to making Dinosaur Hall a world-class museum experience.
We've put together, 300 people to do this project over 5 years. There's teams of, architects and exhibit designers and graphic designers and content developers and electricians and fabricators and artists that have all worked to put this exhibit together. So to actually see it is extremely exciting.
So it's not just hauling in a bunch of bones and throwing them in this big room.
No, that's a huge part of it. That actually, takes a great deal of skill and luck to find the bones and to bring them from the digs and to clean them up and to articulate them. But beyond just the bones, there's a whole group of people that are developing the content and the stories and writing every word and doing all the illustrations for all the fleshed out dinosaurs and doing the bone maps. So there's quite a bit of artistic collaboration that is involved.
But not a simple project by any means.
Not a simple project, not a simple project. We took engineers. I mean, these floors are all engineered to hold these dinosaurs because some of these dinosaurs weigh 3,000 pounds. And this is a very old building. So every dinosaur is basically tied back to building steel. So there's, a lot of engineering that was involved and, scheduling, budgeting.
I do remember that period of time when it was nice to go to the museum, but it's certainly not as exciting as it is now.
Visitor experience, those were the bywords, and we're delighted to hear that you're finding it that way. We've opened things up, we've let the light in. We've turned it, one of our bywords as we went through this process was inside out. We basically wanted to turn it inside out and let the visitors not just see what had happened and not just see the artifacts, but also see the process. And so, as you can see from many of the displays and the interactives here, we are really engaging the visitor in the process, not just the outcome of the process.
What was it like when you first learned that you were going to be a project manager?
On this project, it was really exciting. It was very competitive. So, there were 200 applications for this job, and after 3 months, I somehow got it.
Did you come from another area to Los Angeles to do this?
No, actually, I was living in Los Angeles, and I was working in museums. I was working as a consultant to museums. I wasn't working in a museum. So to come here, it was just amazing because I could work with the paleontologists and be very close to the project. It was much more hands-on than any project I've ever worked on. So,
I imagine you waking up in the middle of the night and dreaming about dinosaurs.
I've had a lot of dreams. It's funny that you ask me because I actually dream about dinosaurs all the time, and they're often they're alive, but they're still skeletons. And I don't know. I have a dog, so my dog and the dinosaurs somehow are interrelated.
An opening preview for the media offers a special sneak peek at the much-anticipated gallery. Museum President and Director Jane Pisano thanks those who worked so hard to complete the ambitious project, and lead curator Luis Chiappi gives reporters a tour of the galleries, which feature 20 full-size dinosaurs and marine reptiles. Here, visitors can hover over a set of fossilized footprints that easily rival those at Grauman's Chinese Theater. There are fossilized dino eggs on display, as well as a section devoted to birds and their close relationship to the dinosaur family, making them living, breathing descendants of dinosaurs. But the gallery's main attraction is Thomas the T-Rex, one of the most complete fossils of a Tyrannosaurus rex specimen.
The person who found Thomas was a local teacher and football coach in a small town in southeastern Montana, who grew up there. As a kid, he and his brother collected dinosaurs for the local museum. Now his brother, Thomas, moved to Billings and worked there far from the dinosaur graveyards that are more typical of eastern Montana. So when I asked Robert, the one who found the specimen, whether he wanted us to call the dinosaur Robert or Bob the T-Rex, he very kindly said, "I'd much rather you honor my brother Thomas, who does not collect dinosaurs anymore, but he loves doing it. And when we were kids, we did it, over years together. And that's how Thomas got its name.
On a personal level, how does it feel for you to see all of this now completed?
It's incredibly rewarding, and also relieving, because I'm exhausted at the end of this run, but I am so pleased that the exhibit came out so beautifully, and it's so nice to see specimens that I collected years ago, and I've seen them partially buried and dirty, and we picked them up from the middle of nowhere, and now they're mounted here in this beautiful hall.
Why are dinosaurs so important to people?
I think that it's because they're amazing. They're big, they're fearsome, they're weird, and yet they existed. They're not dragons. They're not animals from fairy tales. They were very much alive millions of years ago, and they lived essentially in the same planet we do.
To experience this monumental display, which sheds light on these fearsome and fascinating museum favorites, don't miss Dinosaur Hall, the new permanent exhibit at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County. When we return, we'll dust off some artifacts of the recent past when we revel in the nostalgia of typewriters. Find out why these dinosaurs of the office still resonate with fans when Out and About continues.